morning, everybody. It is the 9th of October. We are here in the club. We got a good crew today, and we have got all kinds of videos to share. And why don't we start with Holly? Holly, why don't you tell us about your video? And you got two, she's got two little videos to share. Why don't you share, we'll share the one from Dragoon first. Why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, well, that was taken last spring, and Dragoon is out near Triangle T Ranch, just off Route 10, near also the Amarin Foundation. And we had just been out for a drive and decided to go a little longer than the picnic area at Amarin, and found this great sculpture garden. So that's what that's all about. And the video itself was just done on an iPhone, the whole thing, that both the videos were taken on the iPhone, and then a memory video was generated by the iPhone. So it's pretty much a canned production.
Okay, well, let's take a look. We'll take a look at the Dragoon one first.
She looks better.
Well, of course, Holly looks
all
good.
the way through the internet than our camera does local.
Here we go. The music kind of drops there at the end. Okay, what do we think of that?
Where did she say it is?
It's the Dragoons.
I don't know where that
It's,
is.
it's Dragoon.
Dragoon,
The
yes.
mountains are the Dragoons.
Okay. That's
It's beyond Benson.
So it's in Arizona.
yes.
Yeah.
On I-10.
You know where
We get to New Mexico
You know where the rest area is?
with all the rocks.
The
Texas Canyon.
area.
Yeah.
You know where
It's right-
Texas?
it's
That's
to the
that's
south of
the
there.
Dragoons. Yeah.
I want to take my grandsons to those dinosaurs.
Well,
There,
there.
you gotta go down the road a little bit.
Yeah, almost to the railroad track, almost into Dragoon.
Actually
I'm
beyond.
gonna write that down.
Now, what do
Before
we-
the railroad tracks.
Is it-
Yeah,
What do we think
I
of this
just out that
video?
way here.
Why was it TikTok?
Well, Holly, you're shooting that with your iPhone, right?
Right.
And so it's when you're doing this automated process, you're saying this is the album of photos, create a video for me, and then do you select a vertical format, or does it give you the option of having a horizontal, or how does that?
This was a memory video, and it did not. Everything was automatic. So it's almost like the equivalent of a point and shoot mini movie.
Okay, so basically, it's in a sense, it's more of a phone thing than it is a.
But if you held your phone horizontally, what would it do?
Well, she had horizontal photos in there. If you go back, back and look real quick. Hang on.
Right, I had both.
Hang on. She's got horizontals, and you see where it does the.
It's just doing it.
It's got the
program.
See it, yeah. It's filling the space, the horizontal. You've got that top and bottom leather boxing, for want of a better term, on those horizontal shots.
Now she's got kind of a gray on the bottom, and yet when it changes, there's also a blue at the top. How is that done with two different colors?
I think this is all,
Last one you had that had a top and a bottom there had two colors, there,
well, I mean, there's,
blue on top and gray on the
my
bottom.
assumption is, if I had to guess, that somehow the program is sampling the image
Uh-huh.
and then it's blurring it way out or blowing it way up in the background. So anyway.
Yeah, it's all auto. So the good news is that you can do it quickly, and then decide if you want to make a real movie like an iMovie or a Final Cut Pro. But it's fast.
Oh, so you could export that and take that into iMovie or Final
No,
Cut?
you could take the album it was made from
Okay,
and put that into iMovie or Final Cut.
okay.
What was the
And
name?
then you can control all those
Just one
things
on the
that
iPhone.
people were just talking
I
about.
got one that does things like that too, but I don't know if it has a name.
There's it's just the memories thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Holly?
this one was the memories. It's called Memories.
I think there's in the albums.
Mine
Here's the
is
expert.
making,
Yes, Grace, go ahead.
To say you can control the music, you can control the dissolves, you can control the speed. All those things within the memories video.
Right. It's to a degree. Like I could have picked a different music,
Right.
but I couldn't change the music they had, like to end at a different point or something.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's take a look at your other one. That's the one on fall, Holly. Why don't you tell us about that one?
Yeah, that's also, well, that's a New York one, just to give people a little hint of what's going on here now. And it's, again, quick. This one's called a magic movie. And again, I was just sampling what the computer within the phone does with that function.
Okay. All right, let's check it out.
So I don't know if it's our TV or that video, but the images seem very flat. There wasn't pop to them.
Oh, it hasn't to the color and contrast?
Yeah,
Gee, I thought they looked good.
really.
I
Oh,
think
you have older eyes.
I think it's
That's for certain.
I think it has more to do with the TV. When I look at my laptop, there's more snap and pop
Okay.
in it. So
I thought it looked pretty good. I thought, what a beautiful area though. Holly, that's just gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, it is a gorgeous area, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And again, it's kind of like almost it's like the equivalent of a snapshot to do these things because it doesn't take much input to get that kind of a look.
sure.
Like the different transitions, and the computer and the phone decides how it's going to crop, which photos to put on the screen at one time, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So it doesn't do it in the order you give it the pictures, it kind of comes up with them random.
All random.
Because, I mean.
Well, I don't know how random it is. Like some of the portrait aspect shots, for example, I took it left portrait and showed as a single image. And others it cropped and showed as a partial image on screen with something else. So it's like an artificial intelligence that I don't know exactly all the workings behind it.
I think it just kind of does what it wants. The program does what it wants to do. And there's the plus side is you can create something very quickly. You don't have to do it. And you could share that with family and friends. The downside is you don't have any control over anything to some degree. And so images pop up when they pop up, they get cropped the way they get cropped and away they go.
Right.
Definitely AI, and it'll murder your family.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to do one with people in it.
Now, do you envision Holly ever taking some of these and then doing them in iMovie or Final Cut just to give it your own touch? Or do you just look at it as, hey, I did that, it's done, on to the next thing?
Well, yeah, yes, I do. The short answer is yeah, I'm going to be doing some other things. I'm starting another book, which will be primarily a photo book, kind of a photo meditation book on Adirondack forest bathing. And all these shots of the leaves were taken in the Adirondacks, which is northern New York. And so, I'm looking at how individual shots project and trying to see them from a different perspective than when was in my head when I took it. Like when I see that stuff thrown on the screen, it's kind of like catching a glimpse of yourself in a mirror where you don't realize, oh, that's what I look like, or in a shop window crossing by. So I can see those pictures and say, oh, that's what they look like to somebody else almost. And so it helps me decide which ones I'm going to select for this photo book.
Okay, well, good. Well, I think it's interesting technology. And like I said, I see it as something easy, quick. I personally want to get in there and massage it and move it around and, do whatever, make it my own project versus having the phone do it for me. So
yeah, Paul McCrary is looking for travelogues again for this coming season. And he's contacted me. So I'm thinking, oh, I probably should do a travelogue of one of these, but
good.
Like the Dragoon one, actually, I think people would like because it's there. I mean, they can go there. Like Sherry Lee said, you can take your grandkids and it's fun. And there's a lot more that we saw that wasn't in that quickie show. So
Sure.
That could be made into a movie.
Well, that sounds good. Does anybody have anything else on that they want to add?
So when we did the Costa Rica trip, our guide was using that, and then every evening he would do one of those little videos.
Yeah.
And I had permission to, use stuff in my video, but it was so hard to try and edit those because he didn't give me the original pictures.
Okay.
So I was trying to cut and crop and work with that stuff, and
Right.
It was really hard to use.
He gave you the final product?
Yeah.
Yes, so I had the final product, but he didn't give me his original pictures, which would have been so much more helpful.
Well, sure.
But in any event, it was always fun to try and learn how to work with stuff and how to do my best to make it come out into something presentable.
Sure.
Within my project. But I was glad to see this because I didn't know that it was just a simple thing he was doing.
Sure. You thought he was spending hours and hours during the day.
Hours and hours, but I didn't realize that it was just
That easy.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All right. Well, thank you for that, Holly. Todd, you've got a video and I can't pronounce the name of it. So why don't you tell us about it?
Okay.
And what is it?
So this video is from an underground city, Derinkuyu in Turkey in the Cappadocia region. this was challenging. I shot this all on my GoPro. And what was challenging was, of course, we're underground and they use different color lights. They use kind of orange lights to highlight some things and then bright white lights more for just the walkways and everything. So I tried doing some adjustments in Lightroom, Fairlight, trying to make it a little better, but it just was grainy.
You did it as good as you can. Well, yeah, and probably if it's low light,
Yeah.
you're gonna get that grain and noise on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So.
well, let's take a look.
Derinkuyu is one of the best preserved underground cities in the Cappadocia region of Turkey. There are approximately 36 of these type of cities that have been discovered. The underground cities started around the 8th and 7th century BC by the Phrygians. The Phrygians were an ancient Indo-European speaking people who inhabited central western Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, in antiquity. You may have heard of at least one of the Phrygians. He was King Midas with his curse of the golden touch. Due to the volcanic action 3 to 9 million years ago, the area was covered with volcanic ash called tuff. Tuff is a light porous rock composed mostly of volcanic ash, and it's easily to carve through. I can somewhat imagine when the alarm for the attack sounded, people went into the underground city just like they did with the time machine, all filing in for their protection. The underground city of Derinkuyu was built later. The Christians, who weren't quite accepted yet, built it during the Byzantine era, looking for freedom from religious persecution and the Arab-Byzantine Wars of 780 to 1180 AD. It provided a safe haven for them and their livestock. The city could house up to 2,000 families, and it was spread out over 1.5 square miles with 8 levels going down 197 feet. The first 2 levels were for the schools, churches, kitchens, pantries, dining rooms, wine cellars, and stables. Can't imagine that. Many passageways were short and narrow, allegedly to slow down any invaders who may have gotten into the city. There were round millstone doors that could be closed during an attack and wedged so that they could only be opened from the inside. Hiding places, living quarters, weapons, and tunnels to other cities were on the 3rd and 4th floors. One tunnel on the 3rd floor reached another underground city 5 miles away. Imagine how they figured that out. On the lower floors were water wells, secret escape shafts, meeting halls, confession places, graves, and air shafts. But I still wonder what they did with the waste. The interest in ancient history and unique attraction has made Derinkuyu a popular stop in the Cappadocia region. The food, people, and lodging were absolutely outstanding. If you ever get a chance to visit Turkey, this is a must stop on your venture.
well done.
I thought the camera looked great. I thought it looked good. I was surprised.
What do you think?
Described it as not looking that, I thought.
It doesn't.
Yeah, your lighting and everything is great.
Yeah.
What do we think of that video? Wow.
Thank you.
Good fun, Todd. That was good.
Thank you.
It was a little claustrophobic.
You know, when you got down to the lower levels, the air was a little bit thin,
Was
a
it?
little bit tough to breathe.
Well, there was the one shot where the woman was kind of going through, I don't know who it was, but she was going, you could see she was like hunched down
Oh,
like
yeah.
this. And I thought, oh, hell no.
Yeah. No,
I'm
that
not
was,
going down
a
there.
lot of the passageways were like that. You had to
Wow.
squat down.
Did they dig that all out or was it
Yeah.
natural caves?
No, they dug that all out
What was the main reason for their doing that?
to protect themselves from invade. So the Byzantines, the Romans were coming from the east from the west, and the Mongolians were coming from the east, and Christians weren't accepted then, or it was just beginning. And so they would go in there. But I mean, it even started earlier in that with the Phrygians back in the 7th and 8th century BC, just for protection, to hide.
Did, when you were doing your editing on that, were you using some stabilization?
Every video was
I
stabilized.
was gonna say, there's some, call it
A little
jello.
jelloing, yeah.
And it just,
Not big.
there's not much you can do about it. You have to have the stabilization to help smooth it out. You know, the one thing will be nice, going from from the GoPro 4 to maybe a 9, 10, 11, 12, the new GoPros. They've got pretty good image stabilization.
Right.
And they've also got a wide angle adapter that you can get for like $80, and I highly recommend it. That would have really made that.
So that was on the wide angle.
Yeah, but this is even wider than that.
Mhm.
So screw on.
It mounts, you take off the front filter and you adapt
Put that
with
on.
this adapter on, and it really does a nice job. But anyway, that's, reach into your for your next trip.
Right.
That'll be on your equipment wish
Well,
list.
I was looking at it, Sharon, Lee and I were talking about it. And one of the reasons I haven't gone for a new one was because I have the gimbal already.
Right.
And the gimbal housing does not fit the new GoPros.
Really?
Yep.
You have the same
Different.
gimbal I do.
It's a different size.
Well, if you're using the,
Oh, it's a GoPro gimbal.
Yes.
Oh, yes, you're right. I see. What
well, you know what we'll do, at some point I'll give you one of mine to try. And you may ditch the gimbal. Make your life a lot easier.
you're
I mean,
They
the
are
other-
pretty good.
The other thing too is the DJI makes their little gimbal for the phone. And I highly recommend those, and they're not that expensive, $170, I think, for the latest one. And they are really nice, and that would help too. So just a thought,
Mm-hmm.
When you go back to Turkey.
when you go back to Turkey.
Probably not. Not that it wasn't great and everything. It's just I've got a lot more of the world to see.
Great music though, too.
Yeah.
Really like that. Is that from your people?
That is from Pixabay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. No, it worked perfectly. All right. Does anybody have anything else on that?
Just
I
good
like
job.
how,
Thank you.
Yeah, Joe.
I like,
would-
oh,
Oh, sorry, Shirley.
I just really like the story that you told with it, and the whole intro and, there was depth to it and it was very interesting. I loved some of the footage that you used in the beginning with those guys.
Oh, yeah.
The people all walking down the steps.
From the time machine.
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
great. Yeah, your storytelling and narration is really
That's
good.
really
Yeah.
good.
You always do a nice job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joe.
I would have been happy coming over to see just that video.
Good.
I just,
Thank you.
I mean, the little history.
Yep.
Education, the,
Good
I
work
don't,
on the log.
I don't know how I would have improved it. Maybe you guys do, but I just thought.
I don't think there's anything you would do to improve it. I don't see anything that I saw.
I was trying to prepare myself for what Todd was talking about, the lighting problems. and
Yeah.
Whatever, and you must be a
Yes.
perfectionist.
Well, there's things you see, but it's out of your control because the GoPro is doing the exposure automatically, so you can't control that.
So the one thing that I didn't do or test because I didn't know what the results would be. I mean, I had that on the regular setting for GoPro. There is a nighttime setting for GoPro, and I did not have it, and I didn't want to switch it in the middle of the tour to just see, because I was afraid if I put it on nighttime, those lights would have really been blown out.
It gets kind of noisy too in that setting.
It doesn't? Okay,
Yeah.
well then I'm glad I didn't do that.
Yeah, I think you're fine.
There's so much wonder left from watching that.
Well,
Todd was there and Todd wondered what they did with the waste.
Which I think is
What
great
they did with
too.
the waste, and they took their animals in there with them too.
Wow.
You know, so that city, they claim, I don't know if I said this in there, would house 20,000 people.
You didn't say that.
Would house 20,000 people, but they brought their animals in with them. I'm like,
You probably don't want to know what they did with the waste.
so according to the historians, the longest they believe that any group locked themselves in there was for 5 months.
A lot of work. That's a lot.
That's a lot of,
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I wonder when it was discovered. You know,
Yeah, I'm not sure when this one was discovered. They've discovered 36 of them so far, but they think there's a whole lot more there. And some of them, they start to remodel a house and like tear out a wall, and all of a
There
sudden
it is.
find a hole to a cave behind it and go inside, and all of a sudden,
Wow.
is it unique to Turkey?
I don't know the answer to that. But I mean, what makes it all possible is that volcanic ash turning it into tuff, and that it's
Easier.
relatively easy to carve. But just
You did a nice job explaining the geology up front. I thought that was really nice.
I think you did an excellent job. I'm Dave Mark. I think the concept is something that you really find unique. I think what I found when I went on a couple of them was the size of those round rocks that would roll into a position where no one from the outside, unless they started carving it, could get there. And that one isn't too big a rock. Some of them were taller than I with my hand up. And I think you did an excellent job. I think it's one of those type of things that creates a hell of a lot of interest because it's still there and it's pretty much original form.
Yeah.
So I've been to a few of them. I think God, it's unbelievably impressive video.
In Turkey?
Yeah.
Were you in Turkey when you saw the ones you saw?
Yeah, that's the only place, my understanding is the only place. You never know what some of the guides tell you is factual or embellished. But some of those round rocks, I'm 6'2" now, raise your hand, that's a pretty damn big rock.
Well, yeah.
And if you rolled it in, okay, so you're saying, how the hell did you get back out? I mean, you couldn't push it. I don't think you could.
There was a hole in that one.
right, that's so they
They
could
put
put
a
a window.
shaft in there or something to pull it out, or
They don't know. But the one thing they said was just for them to see if someone was coming.
Oh,
It was like
I
people-
see.
Well,
Joe
thank-
sent me.
What's that?
Joe sent me that.
Yes. Well, thank you, Todd.
You're welcome.
Joe, you've got one for us. Why don't you tell us about your video?
Okay, so my wife and I were camping in Prescott National Forest. Notice I said Prescott.
Yes.
We were just driving into town and went through a neighborhood that was strikingly similar to Midwest. The Midwest, my wife was struck by, gosh, I mean, first of all, you got trees not unlike the Midwest,
Yeah.
but then you have the architecture very similar to the Midwest. Scratching our heads on that one. And then we saw a guy on the street and he was in front of his Halloween. I think he had the finest display. So he did shed some light on it. I'll get to that later, but
Okay.
so this was Halloween, and I've never seen anything like it. Well, except I should say it was something that reminded us of that which people do at Christmas time in the Midwest, you know. Decorating lights, and especially now with, you know, the lights are cheaper and better, and, you know, you can get so creative. But, so this was, Halloween in Prescott last.
So is it in
last-
Prescott or?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a nice, kind of a nice neighborhood in Prescott.
All right, well, let's check it out.
Clowns scare me too.
Think fast. You have to be faster than that.
I was literally spellbound.
We should have turned the lights on.
Well, what is that, the jiggly transition called?
That's so cool.
Oh, I hated to do it, but, you know, I mean, I don't like to do the tricky stuff, but it seemed appropriate. for
Yes.
this.
Is there a name for it?
Jello.
Jello?
You're doing iMovie, right?
Yeah. And again, I think it took probably only 20 minutes to put the thing together until we got to the music, right?
Yeah.
And that was another 2 hours for sure.
Oh, my.
Honest to God. Well, thank you. I still don't know how to search for music. I told my wife, I said, I wish there was somebody that I could turn to do the music, because it's just.
Diane can take care of that. She's the master.
Wow.
All things music.
Those, you know, that you could tell that from the architecture of the homes, I mean, they were the kind of the Victorian.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, before I forget, that the story that the gent that was talking with my wife in front of what was the anchor yard. By anchor yard, I mean that he had, I think it was 5 of those 12-foot skeletons, which Home Depot sells for $300.
Oh, my.
That Hocus Pocus, the dancing, I can't remember. I think that was a couple grand worth of stuff. And I think that, you know, when one neighbor does it, then there's this competition.
Oh, yeah.
So this area was only about 2 blocks long, and I couldn't get enough of it. They do start it in, I don't know if it's a city rule or neighborhood rule, but they can't start until, or at least we were told they couldn't start until October 1st.
Okay.
And there's it just seems like, so what one of the guys said was that they, after Halloween, these people know exactly the towns that they're going to go to buy more of the stuff. Okay.
For next year.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I've never seen anything like it. But,
You know, when I was watching it, I was thinking of the Christmas lights. I forget what the neighborhood is off of,
Winter Haven.
Oh, Winter Haven up in Tucson? No. Right here. It's the, not mobile home, it's the manufacturer. And it's, before you get to, Duval Road.
The Longmont, yeah.
It's actually before Duval Road, which is different from.
The whole neighborhood is made up of this.
You know, you would think that there's a.
That's Pueblo Estates.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Pueblo
That's
Estates.
And, you know, it's amazing, but almost everybody in the neighborhood does Christmas lights. Or Christmas decorations, and some are really incredible. And I was thinking of that, and I was wondering whether you just went all around this whole city to find these, but they were all in one neighborhood.
right.
I wonder if they just do Halloween and not Christmas, or if they have other set for Christmas.
I wonder the same thing.
They spent all their money on Halloween, there's no money.
They do it for Thanksgiving and they have good turkeys.
Oh, my.
All in the dark.
No. So I have to say, does anyone else, I'd love to know, following up on Todd's history lesson, does anyone understand the story that this neighbor was trying to tell us, kind of like the tour guides, we never know what we can believe, but the story about why Prescott has this Victorian look to it, has anybody heard? Supposedly, Abraham Lincoln sent representatives, I don't know if he was president at the time, but I suspect, sent representatives to that part of Arizona with the understanding or with the hope that he could create tourism, and that the people that he sent were from the Midwest. So when he sent them, they were, I guess, to build something that would be conducive to tourism. I would love to know more. I would love to know if there's any truth to that.
I mean, wasn't there, there was something going on back when he was president. Now, what was it? Wasn't there a big issue about whether the Arizona territory would be a slave area or a non-slave area?
No, it was over whether it would be accepted as a state or not. And because Arizona had full suffrage for women voters and the United States didn't, Arizona was not accepted as a state until suffragettes. The women could vote. That's why Arizona was one of the last states in, because they allowed women to vote from the get-go as a territory.
And then Prescott was also the original territorial capital.
Capital, correct.
There were a lot of signs about voting.
And you know what, Harvard, seriously, Harvard, the help desk at Pima Community College, they'll put you in touch with somebody who knows the answer. They're really pretty decent about it.
And then again, sometimes we don't want to know the facts.
That's true. That's true.
I thought Google knew everything.
I'm from Detroit. We don't want to know facts.
Well, the one thing I would say about that video, which I really like that you did well, was you interspersed still photography with the video, and you kind of, instead of showing us all stills and then all video, you gave us some stills, then video. Stills, video.
This is Joe learning, because
well, you're learning good, Joe.
Honestly, a year ago, I was shooting videos almost when it was so blatantly obvious that that's what it had to be.
Right.
But from this class, I've learned now that I would, if I was there again this year, I would approach it with more video.
Sure. You did great. I thought it was a wonderful video.
I thought it was great.
Good job. You're doing good.
Pretty fabulous subject too.
Yeah.
And now that there are no children left in Prescott, it's easier to get around.
All right. Phil has got a video for us. Phil, why don't you tell us about your video?
This is old, and some of you may have seen it before. It's humor, sort of. But the guy who used to conduct this class well, Larry and I used to conduct it years ago, but Brian, I could never get him to smile.
Okay.
And so he, he's a very serious guy. So I did this just to
Get him going.
get him to smile.
Okay. All right, let's see what you got.
And I don't know if he'll smile or not.
Oh.
It's pretty bizarre. Hi, I'm Larson Whipsnade. Did you ever wonder what it would be like to roll down a hill in a barrel? Or go over Niagara Falls and experience the tumbling? Well, now you can with Circle-O-Rama, the miracle camera mount that is guaranteed to give you the experience of a lifetime. This amazing product retails for $299, but on this TV special, it's only 26 easy payments of $19.95. Yes, it's the amazing Circle-O-Rama. Send check or money order, no postage stamps please, to P.O. Box 66, Frozen Sneakers, Wyoming. This offer is good for a short time only and it's not sold in any stores. Also, batteries are not included. This product is guaranteed for 6 minutes or 6 feet, whichever comes first. Just send that money to Circle-O-Rama, P.O. Box 66, Frozen Sneakers, Wyoming. Remember, we're rolling out the barrel. And he actually laughed.
Oh, that's
That's hysterical.
that was great. What was the impetus of that? Just you were screwing around one day and
I
decided,
don't
and you mounted the GoPro to a little wheel and
do
you
a
rolled
wheel
it
with
around.
a handle, and it's now repurposed, but it was just to get him to laugh.
I think you did a good job. That was very fun. Well, in the
Did
past,
anybody in the audience, Chuck?
yeah, well, there's that. There's a little bit of that vertigo thing going.
Has anybody seen that before?
I know.
No, you've seen it before. Yeah, you're an old timer.
Yes, but that was what, 8 years ago.
Oh, years ago. Yeah.
That shows them on an airplane.
Hasn't and I can't remember before I joined the club, but hasn't the club, the group had like a humor thing in the past? They've done some like a theme of a humor video, like make a funny video, 1 minute video or something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Everything you can think of, they've done.
okay. Well, we might have to work on that.
One film that they did, which is horrible, was
Oh,
a class project. It had everybody's voice in the class, and it was about, I can't even describe it.
Adam and Eve.
It was so, yeah, Adam and Eve, so
Oh,
stupid.
yeah, God created.
Yeah, yeah, Gene remembers that.
God, it was terrible.
It's what happens when you have a committee make a film.
oh boy.
Yeah,
Well, that's not,
too many voices.
Oh, it's terrible.
oh boy. Well, we have a video that Sherry Lee shared last week there was only a few of us here. And I thought it was so good. I said, we got to share that during the regular group. So anyway, Sherry Lee, tell us about your video.
So this was our recent trip to Costa Rica, and I was having a lot of fun playing with I use Premiere Elements, and it has an FX section that I hadn't really explored before that actually would crop the pictures, and I could do different things with it, like bevel the edges and, just some other, put shadow layers behind. So I was having fun playing with that, and there would be some motion in it. So, and then I didn't organize the trip in sequence. I organized it by category or topic. Another thing I was playing with was alliterations. I was having a lot of fun with that. So anyway, it's a little longer than my usual ones. This is 15 minutes instead of 10 minutes, but there's a lot in there.
Yes, there is.
Phil called it frenetic.
Our Costa Rican experience began in San Jose.
included beautiful jungle lodges, riding a river as far north as the Guatemalan border, traversing through several volcanic mountains, playing in the Pacific Ocean, and for a few of us, flying to Tortuguera on the Caribbean coast. Pura Vida is all the Spanish we needed. Enjoy with us numerous adventurous activities. Touring San Jose with our wonderful trip leader, Gustavo. Touring Escazú, known as the City of Witches, and is where approximately 50,000 U.S. expats reside. Walking on tropical trails in rainforests, and at the Erinal Volcano National Park. Along whimsical waterfalls, experiencing water and wildlife in varied vessels. And how about some magical mud? The local cantina and karaoke was quite fun. Then a few of us took our first small plane ride to Tortuguera. Landing on the small airstrip with a shack for a terminal, to then board a boat, the only way to get from place to place on the island. One's destination is never a place, but a new way of seeing things, like this fascinating foliage. People don't take trips, trips take people. And ours was full of leisurely learning and delightful discoveries, like this master mask maker. This gentleman uses the same technique as his grandfather. And his sons do the dancing. Masks represent traditional legends, and a party is not a party without a mask. This coffee plantation uses banana trees for water and the sun to dry the beans. We learned that good quality doesn't need to be over-roasted. In fact, dark roast is to hide a lower quality.
This is the real chocolate, right?
We got to sample fresh chocolate and coconut water. Really good. What goes into getting us bananas? I had no idea what it took to get those bananas to my grocery store. Pineapple controversy.
US, Chile, and Colombia, and Mexico use 2 kilograms per square hectare. Unfortunately, we use more than 10 to 34 kilos.
Meet Irma.
Remember, Capi Capi, pura vida. Capi. Okay. In my community, we continue with the different traditions.
A highlight of travel with OAT is experiencing a day in the life of a local community and the support a portion of our travel dollar provides. This is a middle and high school with 1 class per grade. We got to meet and interact with students. One girl even sang for us. And others danced for us. This was followed by time with a local family, sharing their home with us. Preparing food together. And eating together. Our host also sang for us. A traveler without observation is a bird without wings. A wonderful part of the jungle is the incredible variety of creatures: banana spiders, millipedes, bullet ants, the stunning mariposa, and other beautiful butterflies. Now I love the fabulous frogs. Fun finds during our night walks: a teenage tadpole, the red-eyed tree frog, poisonous dart frog, the minuscule blue jean dart frog, and the hourglass tree frog. So cool. Next up, the riveting reptiles. Here's the Jesus Christ lizard, so named because he runs on water. An interesting iguana. Caiman and crocs. FYI, caiman are considerably smaller than fully grown crocodiles. For all of you bird lovers, Costa Rica is a feast for the eyes. Now for some magnificent mammals. We got to wake up to howlers instead of roosters, and thoroughly enjoyed those mischievous monkeys. In fact, on a boat ride, our boat drifted into shrubbery full of young monkeys. And a very protective mama. Pretty exciting. The critter finale was witnessing a sea turtle laying eggs and swatting us with sand. Traveling tends to magnify human emotions. This quote well describes our exciting experiences. Awesome. Oh, yay. He wasn't kidding when he said we get wet. So much of who we are is where we have been. I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. In case you'd like to join me.
I feel so bad for you if you have to lead such a sedentary lifestyle. It's just a shame. I absolutely.
She was thrown out of the boat.
Yeah, I absolutely love your format for a traveler. most of the time we get bogged down in that, we went here first, we went there next, you know, it's so typical. This just gives you a beautiful overview of Costa Rica. It's there, it's beautiful. Well done.
I like the way you narrated your text at the same time.
Yeah.
You really sunk in with what it was.
Yay.
Very well done.
So what Phil wanted me to share was in the whitewater rafting. I got pitched. There were it was supposed to be a beginner, and I guess it was, but there were some pretty strong level 3 rapids, and we had gotten some training beforehand, and it was a good thing because we just thought it was just token training. But there was a certain place that we hit where I was trying to follow his instructions to pull in, but it hit me in such a way it just bounced me out of the raft. And so it was one of the longer rapids, and so it was literally about 3 or 4 minutes that I was riding it on my back, and my poor butt got so beat up. But it was a lot harder for the people watching because nobody could rescue me until we got to the end of it. I really wasn't afraid because I was so busy focused on breathing and keeping myself on my back, you know, because the water just, you know, kept coming over. And I had my GoPro on, and everybody was sure I was going to have one of those instant famous things. But I'm on my back, so all you're seeing is the sky with the water. It was exciting.
So she could still be in Costa Rica.
But
My only thing, Shirley, is your photography is so great that I would have loved to have seen a lot of those pictures a little longer.
I know. Well, I'm glad to have that complaint.
You know, that's what we talk about.
Yeah.
When you've got something that you've got good stuff and you want to see it a little longer, but like you said, now you're at 15 minutes. So do you say, okay, I'm going to segment this up and do it that way and then combine everything together at some point into like chapters or whatever? But yeah, there's a lot of, that's the one thing we talked about last week. There was a couple of things, but one of the things we talked about was how frenetic the pace is, because you're just, it's like there's a lot of stuff that's going on throughout the video, which is not a bad thing, but man, there's a lot of energy there.
But the audience wants to see more because of that.
Well, yeah. So definitely nice job on that. Does anybody have anything else on that they like to add?
Just, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I could tell it was a lot of fun to be there, and just, it was a lot of fun to watch it.
Excellent.
What was her program that she used?
What, you use Premiere
Elements.
Premiere Elements is the video editing program. All right, I got one quick one to show you that I did. Just edited it yesterday, actually. I was down in Arivaca on Saturday. They had Arivaca days, and we interviewed a bunch of people about tourism in Arivaca and stuff. And so this woman that we interviewed is, they're dedicated a park. They're going to have a park down there. And so she's talking about this park and what's going on. So it's a quick little video.
The whole reason that this park even came into existence is a grant opportunity came up from TOMF. They had a grant opportunity that was centered on mental disorders and drug abuse and innovative ways that you want your community or your organization to address that. And we thought Arivaca is kind of different. Arivaca, we can't have, somebody sitting inside doing the traditional type therapies or whatever for that. So we really got kind of put on our heads together, and about at the same time on YouTube, I saw a video that had gone viral about sidewalktalk.org, and it is a national movement. And this gal who did it, it's the viral video off of the streets of New York, and it's literally training people to listen. And they put 2 seats across from each other and they listen. They don't judge, they don't fix, there's nothing to fix, it's just a listening event. Well, that just sparked the interest. the benefits of listening, the benefits of connection, the benefits of having someone there just to have interest in you. So we quickly became a Sidewalk Talk charter, and we wrote the grant focused on that listening, and we got it for $7,500, and it is the initial spur of this park. And they actually came and visited us last Wednesday. The TOMF Foundation love what we're doing. Then we thought, well, where are we going to do it? We don't have sidewalks in Arivaca. And so that was the whole thing. This park was run down. It was overgrown. There was trash. There was debris. There was all kinds of stuff. But we thought, we have a vision and we want to put it in this park right here. We contacted the owner, David Beckham, who's a resident here. His wife is the fire chief. And we presented him with the idea. And he says, love it. Absolutely. We signed a 10-year lease for virtually nothing. So this park HR has for 10 years. And the name reveal, which we're going to be doing in a minute, but the name reveal is Plaza de la Amistad, which means Plaza of Friends. And our goal is to have this as a place of connection in Arivaca. Arivaca is a happening town. We have every first Saturday is absolute craziness, wonderful craziness with food vendors, farmers markets, all kinds of stuff happening. There's no place for people to relax. You literally have groups of bicyclists come in and you can see them sitting on the pavement in front of our mercantile drinking their water for their 25-mile trip back through our windy road, which bicyclists and motorcyclists absolutely love. So we're going to have bicycle stands, we'll have shaded areas, we'll have seats, we'll have tables, we'll have a place for a food vendor. In the back of the park, we're going to have an amphitheater type thing with gardens and so music venues. We'll have twinkly lights. This area where I'm standing in right now is going to be an information center, and we're going to talk about the history of the park. We want to share Arivaca's history, the history of the land you're standing on. We want to honor the people that have been before us. We are absolutely going to preserve these beautiful adobe walls, and we already have things lined up to have that into place. We have more grant monies out being written right now to help with all of the infrastructure, the site designing. So many volunteers have come already for this park. On July, I believe it was 22nd, it was a Saturday, 50 volunteers from Arivaca logged in 180 labor hours to clean it up to where you see it right now. And my goal is by December, January at the latest, I'm hoping to have it in the year 2023, to do our first Sidewalk Talk program, even if it's just grabbing camp chairs, plopping it here in the shade of the park and having our first Sidewalk Talk event, because that is what inspired this park. It's a destination for Arivaca. It's a place where they can come, rest, shop at the cantina, but for residents, and this is where it's dear to my heart as the representative from Human Resource. Human Resource does food boxes to 80 individuals in Arivaca. When you consider the Arivaca as a population of 900, that's almost 10% of the population of Arivaca gets food, hot meals from Arivaca Human Resource. Most of them get delivered their meals. However, how wonderful would it be if one day a week they came here and we had lunch at the park? And anybody in the area who wanted to is to meet here. They could go across the street to HR where our offices are, pick up their lunch instead of getting it delivered to them that day, and come and sit on a table under the park. And it's just a phenomenal, the ideas are endless of what we can do at the park. Food vendors, we'll have a food vendor area here where we can rent out areas to the food vendor. Of course, any profits that the park makes, any proceeds, if we have anything that's charged like the vendor area like that, will go to Arivaca Human Resource. We are a 501c3 nonprofit and we rely on donations and grants. And if anybody knows anything about nonprofits, it's a never-ending cycle. And we love sharing Arivaca with people. We love what we do here and are so excited that for you to come and visit us, because it's truly an amazing place.
Yes, sir.
You know, I see the potential in this project as being equal to the one that everybody did for equine rescue. There's a story here.
Sure.
Somewhere in Arivaca that really might be worth exploring.
Well, we interviewed about 6 or 7 people throughout the day that we were there. And so this is just like the first video. And then at some point, we'll probably put a segments of tourism.
Did somebody
together.
send you there or?
Yeah, there's an organization that helps promote Kanoa and this whole area. And so I got hooked up with them and went out and did that. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. And she was great too.
Submit it to the Yeravaca Film Festival.
Oh, that's not a film festival thing.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, no.
They'd love to see it. They'd love to promote the park, though, through their film festival. I bet they could use it like an ad.
Well, don't worry. We'll be giving them a bunch of stuff, so that'll be good. Yes, Jim.
A couple questions and comments. The actual festival that they're showing there, where is that relative to downtown Arivaca?
The big downtown of Arivaca? Yeah. It's basically right along the main street there.
Which it's in there. We were just there this Saturday, and a lot of times on the first Saturday of the month, lots of people meet out there at the Lagatina restaurant, especially the motorcyclists and all. So it's pretty active and it's fun. Great people.
The one thing that was nice is that it just worked out that we shot Saturday, that the schedule's all coordinated. The thing that was nice about it was that woman, Suzanne, was saying that she's never seen so many cars and people there that day. So it really made it a lot better for us.
Earlier in the morning as it started?
Yeah, we were there at 9 o'clock and we wrapped up. And I was drinking beer at the cantina about 2 o'clock. It was great.
It's not where there's a crossroads and there's a wildlife refuge.
Yeah, Buenos Aires. Yeah, we also interviewed somebody from Buenos Aires. They've got a new thrift shop there in town, and they will donate the money from that, kind of like White Elephant does, and it goes back to the people of Arivaca. So
there's a beautiful history of Arivaca. If you can find somebody out there that'll fill you in on all the details of how Arivaca became what it is today. And it's a mix of a commune and ranchers that literally came together, families intermarried, and Arivaca grew out of it. It's interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
So they'll do this the next first Saturday, like in November?
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to, well, this Arivaca Days, she said, will be the first Saturday in October every year now. This is the very first one that they've done, but they still do every first Saturday is the farmers market and the vendors and stuff. So it's.
I just noticed, was she Mike?
I had originally I was going to be doing a lav mic on these people, but we had a very tight schedule, and so I did not use my big video camera. I have my little 405 Canon 405, which shoots 4K, which is great. So I put a shotgun mic on it, and then I made sure I was fairly close to them so that I would get some good sound, not have any wind issues and stuff. So if that's where somebody else is determining the schedule, when you're doing something like this, and you look at the schedule and look at how tight things are, and you're like, there's no way I can screw around with the big camera and miking people and everything else. So everything was done that way.
Well, technically it seems so good, and I was curious, how did you have her, you told her to not look at the camera, but to look?
I had her talking to somebody off camera. So basically, the thing that I found for a lot of these is people are more comfortable if they're not used to being on camera. Now, she was really good, but some people are very nervous about being on camera. And if you're looking right at the camera and their mind is racing about looking at the camera and whatever, so to have her turn and look off camera, it gives them a little comfort that, oh, she's just talking to Dawn. Oh, okay, great. And I just happen to be the voyeur in the room.
Well, I was so fascinated. Was this, did you make her look good? Did you have to edit? Or was this one shot only?
Oh, this is one take, but I did have to, I'm cleaning up a bunch of stuff. And the one thing that was interesting, the foundation that gave them the grant money, she was saying the name of it, and at first on camera, and she wasn't remembering it well. And so I said, just give me the words there, because there's whatever the foundation was. It was like 4 words. Well, the funny thing is, she said one of the words wrong. Like it's, I don't know, it's orthopedic, or she said ostopedic or something, whatever it was. And I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm editing and like, oh shit, she didn't say it right. Well, the good thing was she said FOM or whatever, TF, whatever it was. And so I'm like, okay, I sliced that into where she was saying the foundation's name and used it that way.
Well, you had it on the screen.
And I had it on the screen too, which was good.
Wow.
But that's the beauty of B-roll. Because you can clean people up, you can get rid of pauses, whatever's going on.
She was so good.
Yes, and the other thing I would say quickly is, we normally at the end when we were talking to any of these people, you might, hey, well, tell me about this or tell me about that. Well, she got done and I was like, I got nothing else. You nailed it. Yeah. So anyway, she was that good.
Was that hair like natural shot?
Yes, that's natural. Yes. Well, there was no time to do anything, and you're just at the mercy of.
Perfect.
Well, it worked out fine. So anyway, all right. Does anybody have anything else? What we're going to do is we're going to stop the recording. Tom's got a video to share that he doesn't want on camera. We meet again in 2 weeks. We'll also meet next week. For those that are here for the off week, if you want to come, that'll be on the 16th. And then we'll meet again in 2 weeks for the on week. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording and then let's see what Tom's got. See ya.